A good evening and welcome to the Medicamp Health Show. My name is Mombe Mavuti and today we have an interesting episode lined up for you. Today we are talking about mental health awareness. I'm not alone here in studio. Today we are very many. First we have Dr. Teresa here with us. She's going to be taking us through this episode. And on the other side we have our guest whom we are going to be interacting together to educate you on why is it important to open up on mental health issues. Thank you so much, all of you, for making time for this episode. I want to invite you, Madam Teresa Nyambura. We're going to give you a moment to introduce yourselves to our viewers. Tell us what you've been doing and for how long you've done this. And so that we can listen to you with all the insights you have for us.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Teresa Nyambura Maina. I'm a counselor psychologist. I've been dealing with young people and I've also trained as a counselor. I'm a scout leader, trained. I deal with young people because scouting is about empowering the young people and transforming their lives. So I'm happy to be here today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are happy to have you. So we're going to be talking about mental health awareness. We want to basically inform people and educate them on the importance of mental health. But even before we start with the details, what can be defined as mental wellness? At what point is someone well mentally?
As it is, mental is something to do with the mind. So health is the well-being, the general well-being. So when you are addressing mental health, we are addressing the general wellness of the mind. Yes.
And what is the scope at what measures do we take to maintain that this person is mentally well? Or what are the characteristics of someone, for lack of a better word, that you could say this is a normal person, this person is mentally well?
Okay, as we can say, the mind affects the way we think, the way we act, the way we remember things, or the way we know things. So when we are saying that you are mentally well, it means now your sound is mind, your sound is well, your mind is very healthy. And the most of the characteristics we can say of a normal behavior or a mentally healthy person is that you can be able to make changes, you can be able to make concrete decisions, you can be able to adjust when you make a mistake or something is wrong with you or the environment is not conducive, you can adjust. You're able to make sound judgment. Yeah, that's when you can say you are of sound mind. Yes.
And mental wellness is something that in our society, sadly, we've not been able to take it up in. A lot of people are struggling with mental wellness. Maybe they have mental illnesses, but then again, sometimes we just believe that this is normal. You know, maisha ni ngumu, and so I'm okay, and maybe someone is not okay. So how do you spot in yourself that this is not okay and I should be visiting a counselor or a psychologist? At what point should you be concerned that am I really well mentally, or do you have to wait for maybe an external person to spot it in you that something is not right with you?
No, you don't have to wait. On a personal level, you need to know who you are, where you're going, and how are you going there. So the moment you're not productive, the moment you're not attaining your goals, the moment you're not productive, the moment you are not making concrete decisions, the moment you are not at peace with self, you have some phobic tendencies, you have some anxiety, then it means something is wrong with you. Because mental illness, we don't concentrate so much on the severe ones. We have some mild mental illnesses, and we are all candidates of mental illness. Yeah, so long as we are living, so long as this life is very demanding, we are all candidates of mental illness. Yes.
Not that you're saying that all of us, as long as you are alive, you're a candidate of mental illness. So what are some of the triggers? What is going to bring this about?
You see now, like we have the international and the local crisis. We have the skyrocketing of prices and whatever. So we have the family issues. we have personal problems, we have work to handle. Most of us are jobless. You know, there's so many issues, there are so many crises around us, personal, and some are not even personal. We might be involved directly or not directly involved, but they all concern us. And so in one way or the other, we tend to at times ignore, develop it, we call them, we can even ignore like it's not happening, but it's real. The skyrocketing of prices, what do we call it, the financial aspect of everything. So it is triggering the illness, it is triggering the way we are behaving. You might find that when you are working, maybe your salary is the same, but the prices have gone up, you have children to take care, or your life to take care of. So that one can trigger some mental illness. You might be anxious, you might not be happy, you might be sad, or you can turn up to be to drug and substance abuse. Yes.
So you've talked about things like the economic environment that people are in, maybe even the workplace, and certain things that we actually have to deal with daily.
Yeah.
And these are things that are right here with us. And so people are getting stressed, people have anxiety. Does that mean that every time you are stressed or every time that you have anxiety should get help? Or at what point is it excessive? At what point is my stress not normal stress? Because people are stressed oftenly. Yeah, every now and then people are stressed. So when is stress or anxiety, when does it get extreme and now you have to seek help?
Okay, when you talk of stress, we have the eustress. Eustress is the positive stress, the one that triggers you to act in a certain way to be able to address the issue that was at hand, the issue that was stressing out. And then we have the other type of stress that makes you not functioning, that makes you not become productive, or whether you're productive before you now become like stagnated. You become nervous, you develop some fears of the unknown at times. At times you become, you lack sleeps, you may lack sleep, you may become, withdraw, you can develop some withdrawal symptoms. And that means you're not functioning the way you should. And that is the time you should now go seek for help. Because when you come to psychological counseling, it's like you are just vetting out, you're rating out whatever is disturbing you to be able now to focus on the present and the future. Because most of the times that whatever you see that is disturbing us psychologically is mostly our past. The situations that could be were traumatic to us, the situations that hurt us, and trying to fit in the community. Because you tend to see that every time people expect you to behave in a certain way. Could be you might not manage, could be you're not fitting in, could be whatever you're doing is not, you're not happy about it, and people are expecting some results from you. So you see, it's like now you have the pressure, you have the pressure to behave in a certain way, pressure to do things in a certain way. You're conditioned. So you tend to now stop at a certain level because the mind, you cannot push it any further. Yes.
And you've mentioned something to do with productivity. Is there in any way that when I'm going through psychological problems or mental problems, is it going to manifest physically in any way? Like maybe I could be complaining of headache, which may be body ache, or I don't want to get out of my bed, something that is physical, and maybe you could assume maybe it could be another physical illness, but then maybe it is something that is psychological. Is there a correlation between our mental health and the physical health? Is mental illness going to manifest physically?
Yes, it is. At times you may feel you have some headache, backache, like your arms are aching. You feel like you're insomniac, you're not getting enough sleep. It manifests, it really manifests, depending on the severity. And then since you want to, you don't want to do whatever maybe is stressing you up, you withdraw. And now the withdrawal will bring the physical symptoms up. Yes.
So from this conversation, what I'm getting, Madam Teresa, is that these are things that people are really going through.
Yes.
These are things people are experiencing on a daily basis. Yes. Don't feel like you want to do what you do normally. Feel like you really just want to withdraw. But are people seeking help for this?
You see, people ignore or even don't know they have the problems. And they only think that the severe mental illness, the ones that person goes now out of hand and out of touch, that's when you're mentally ill. No. When you feel like you're not, you don't want to do what you're doing, you can't concentrate, and you can't even plan. All you're planning and you're not implementing whatever you're planning. You have some fear, phobic. You became phobic. You became anxious. So then it means you can't go out there and face the world. You can't go out there and face people. At times you get, you tend to become lazy, procrastinate, and as you progress, you find that you can't even face the outside world. You can't go and perform whatever you wanted or you liked to perform. You become like stagnated. You become like you've stopped. Yes. You don't want to go out there. You don't want to face the challenges. Now that is denial. You're denying the reality. It's like you're trying to assume whatever is happening is not happening. Yes.
And so Dr. is saying that if you're procrastinating, if you're lazy, and if you have any of the symptoms that she's talking about, that there is a problem. So maybe this person wants to come and seek help. But here in our country and in our community, I don't think we embrace therapy, coming to someone like you and talking to you, maybe because we don't know the importance of all of it. Why is it important for anyone to come see a counselor or to open up on what is putting them down?
Okay. You find that the moment you sit around, you are not talking about whatever you're going through. You are repressing the feelings. You are suppressing the feelings. It's like they're inside you. The moment you go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, they don't treat you medically. They just give you a platform to vet out, to talk, yeah. And it becomes therapeutic. They give you a therapy. Could be they can give you an assignment, and they help you to get in touch now with the real you, with whatever is disturbing you, so that now you can be able now to like put whatever was disturbing you at bay and you progress. Yes, because at times you find that most of the things that disturb us could be occurred at our early developmental stages, at our puberty or the teenage. So all of them is piling up. So you find that you even don't know who you are. You find that you can be struggling with identity crisis. You don't even know who you are. You don't know what you're talented with. You don't know what you are passionate about. Whatever you're doing, maybe the work you're doing, you don't know whether you like it or you dislike it, because maybe your parent told you to do that, or somebody else, or the condition. So most of the conditions affect our performance, affect our mental wellness, and that is why it is important to go to a psychologist. Yes.
And it helps. Does therapy help? That is a big question out there.
It does. It does. It does, because you find that when you are undergoing therapy, you start running. That the way you are behaving could be you're not behaving normally, but you find that behaviors can be learned, unlearned, or relearned. And now you come in touch with the real you, what you want in life. You can even change, because if you are a normal person, you can change. Yes. Yes.
That is so powerful, that behaviors can be learned,
relearned, or unlearned. Yes.
That is quite awesome. That means we have a big space for anyone to evolve into who they want to become and make themselves mentally powerful.
Yes.
So we also have people in our communities that they behave in a certain way that could be perceived as mentally ill or mentally not okay, but they associate this with traumas. I'd say these are my triggers, this is my trauma. Could you just elaborate for us? What is a trauma and what are these they call triggers?
Okay, a trauma is an extensive shock, a shock, like something that happened to you that really, really shocked you. And when you talk of trauma, we have like 3 types. We have the primary traumas. The primary traumas is that which happens to you. We have the secondary trauma, that which happened to somebody, maybe you know, or happened when you were there. And then we have the tertiary. The tertiary affects the caregivers, like the nurses, the police, the chiefs, because you find that when you go to the villages, anything that happens is brought to the chief. The nurses, the accidents and whatever, the doctors, the patients are brought to them. So that is tertiary trauma. So it now depends. It depends with the type of trauma you are undergoing.
The trauma, like when someone says, I behave this way because I have childhood trauma, or I fear this because I correlate it with a certain incident. So I think the question is it fair or is it normal? Is it okay that people connect their behavior with what happened previously, and should they get help for that?
That is now what we call denial. Since they don't want to face the reality, they don't want to come into touch with self, they give excuses. They are denying the fact that they are not behaving normally, so they are blaming something else. You see? But in the little sense, when trauma happens to you, you can heal. Yeah, you can go talk about it to a therapist and you can be helped. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. I like Medicamp because just like you put it, we learn and unlearn. I think that is very common out there, that I'm traumatized, you triggered me because this happened to me. So I think what you're telling us is that you should heal what happened back then. Stop denying that right now there is a problem and look at this problem that is there. So we have discussed mostly therapy, but there are other options. Maybe for someone who cannot afford therapy, maybe I'm back at home, I have stress that is not really normal, it's exceeding what can be called normal stress. I use stress as you called it, or something that is really extreme, and this person cannot afford therapy. Are there some things or activities that people can engage in that are going to help them with becoming productive and dealing with whatever they're struggling with mentally?
Yes, if you have like mild cases of mental illness, you can do it. I tell especially the young audiences, you can do it on pen and paper. On pen and paper, in that you can be writing. You can develop the habit of writing. You can write. You can write maybe those painful experiences. You can write what is hindering you. You can write anything. You can write your feelings. You can write your past. Now, the moment you start writing on pen and paper, you are coming into contact with self. And you might be having future dreams, anything. You can write anything. And let that journal be confidential, because at times you can be criticizing the person you are with. So it's healthy to write. Yes, write. Then it's also healthy to go and develop, depending on your hobbies and talents. You can go out there and be engaged in outdoor activities like sports, like knitting, like beadwork, anything that is making you happy. You can also get in touch with nature. Nature
has a way of helping.
Is a way of helping. You can go out there and explore nature. Yes. And at times it's also good to go away from whatever is triggering or the reason why you are becoming stressed. Or if it's in case of your workplace, you can take some time off, go get in contact with self. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. And sometimes people open up to friends. Does that also help, or it's something you discourage?
Well, I also work with Peer Counselors Association of Kenya as the coordinator in Nyeri County. Peer-to-peer counseling is very healthy because you find that when you're with your peer, you open up. When you are with your peer, you relate very well. So if at all you can find that it's necessary to go and open up with your peer, it's good. But what is happening with the young generation now, you can go, there's a danger. You go open up to your peer, maybe they are on drugs, or they tell you the way to get out of that is drug and substance abuse. So you have to be cautious, yes, but it's good to open up. The moment you open up, it's one way of healing. It's the process of healing is starting. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. So we also have mostly your stress might come from where you are. It could be home, could be work environment, and that is where you are, and have to show up daily there sometimes, but still that environment triggers you. That environment stresses you out. How do we cope? How do we survive in such environments, given that if it's home, you still go home, you'll still be with your family, and maybe they are the trigger. If it's work, you still have duties that you must do, and you have to be in that environment in a way, yeah, before you even find a solution. Because if it's a child that is stressed at home, you have to become a grown-up before you can move. So moving sometimes is not the solution. So how can people survive in such environments? What do you have that can help someone survive in an environment that is not very friendly?
Okay, I don't believe that they are saying the environment that is triggering. It is you, because you can't change the world. You change that which you have power over, and that which you can control, and that is you. So you can make a concrete decision of changing your perception, the way you seeing those people, the way you're taking them, the way you're relating with them, and if you're getting angry, you can choose not to. So it's you to choose, it's you to transform, it's you to change. You can't change the world, but you can change yourself. And nothing cannot change. We can change. You can change your perception. And when you change you can change the environment. You can change your place of work. You can change that environment at home. You can change you, because your only power is limited to you. The moment you transform, the moment you change, now you can change the environment. Could be they are not the problem, you are the problem. Yes. So the moment you start getting in touch with yourself, the way you're behaving, the way you are acting, you'll be able now to relate very well with people, because all those situations and circumstances will be there. You won't run away from the reality. They will be there. Even if you move from that one situation, you find other challenges somewhere else. So what is the best thing to change? It's you. Yeah.
Thank you. That is quite powerful. But you're trickling down this to a personal level.
Yes.
That if you decide that you want this difference, can actually create the difference.
You can.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Now let's talk about the stigma. That is, I don't know if stigma is really the best word, but there is this. Our society has not really taken up the message that you are talking to us about today, and people are not really willing to come to people like you for help, and they tend to think that it's weakness, that if you have something that is troubling you, you cannot open up, you cannot even seek therapy or any other form of help because you don't want to feel weak. What do you have for people like that? Because people are suffering in silence, they just fear to seek help because kind of they have associated this with being weak.
As I can say, it's not weakness. Weakness is keeping silence, because it means that you have some phobic that you have never realized you have. It means that you are not bold enough. It means you are not ready to address your personal issues. And if you don't, facing the world will be difficult, because there is no way you'll be like an island. You'll be alone. You'll go out there. You need to go out there, face people. You need to go out there, be productive, work. So I usually tell people it's good. Even if you don't go to a psychologist, then you can go to your peer. You find that, like in the rural settings, you find women get lesser mental illness, because anytime that lady is stressed up, she goes, gossips and talks it out. She doesn't care whether you talk it or you don't. She doesn't care. So it's also advisable to at least try and get a person you can confide with, a person you can share whatever you're feeling. Maybe on daily basis. If you can't, you can start on pen and paper. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Because when you start on pen and paper, you're very sincere. The moment you are done and you feel this is so much, you can even burn the paper. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think you're really making this so simple when we've always thought that it's quite a mountain.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, I'm learning in the process, and we are really loving this. We're going to be taking a quick short break, and when we come back, remember the guests I told you about, they're going to be engaging with us, they're going to be interacting with our counselor. We're going to be interacting here so that we can promote the culture of opening up and also learn what they have pending on their end, and they're going to be talking to us. So stay tuned, don't go away.
Wabici ya Othaya NGCDF rungu rwa ũtongoria wa Honorable Wambũgũ Wainaina nĩramenyithia aciari hamwe na arutwo arĩa mahetwo mbeca cia basari cia mwaka mũhetũku mathiĩ na mbere na kuoya fomu cia kũihũria basari ya mwaka ũyũ. Fomu ici iraheanwo wodi ciothe 4 cia Othaya, na ikondo no fomu yaku hĩndĩ ĩrĩa iraheanagwo. Ndũkamake amu no wĩkinyie kũrĩa iraheanagwo na oye fomu yaku, na thutha ũcio mũndũ acokie fomu yake harĩ oire tarĩki 4 na tarĩki 5 mweri ũkĩte wa gatatũ. Ririkana basari ĩno nĩ arutwo a mathukuru ma boarding, colleges, TVET, mathukuru marĩa marĩ na mawathe na universities. Nao arutwo a form 1 na a mwaka wa mbere a colleges, TVET na universities nĩ marori kuoya fomu ici nĩguo ithuthurio. Nĩtũthiĩ na mbere na kũnyitĩrĩra gĩthomo amu gũkũ Othaya nĩ kuga na gwĩka.
At GTN TV, the home of gifts and talents, our main agenda is Mount Kenya, its economy, its businesses, and its people's interests. We are therefore presenting to you the GTN Nyeri Business and Corporate Leaders Breakfast, which shall be held on Tuesday, the 5th of March 2024 from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the White Rhino Hotel. The theme of the breakfast shall be Nyeri is our business. The chief guest will be His Excellency Mwalimu Mutahi Kahiga, the Governor of Nyeri County. The guest speaker will be Ibrahim Ndegwa, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, KNCCI Nyeri Chapter. For more information, you may contact 0768 411 708. Karibuni sana.
Kwĩgwatĩra Musa kũrĩra kwa Gĩthero ro Andy Wawa featuring Elizabeth Nyambere. Tasikiza tuni ya thimũ yaku, hihinya *837 *3260# ũkenagie harĩa marakũhũrĩra thimũ na rũgambi rũrũ.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We are talking about mental health awareness. We've talked quite a lot about the importance of it, what could be triggering you, and what can you do just at the comfort of your home without really having to visit a counselor. And like I mentioned before, we have an audience here with us. In order to give them this opportunity, they're going to be introducing themselves to you and interacting with our counselor. They're going to be asking questions or raising concerns about mental health or mental illness for that matter. And yeah, stay tuned and follow.
All right, thank you so much, Mombi Mavuti, for this opportunity to get to learn more about mental health. And thank you also to our counselor. We're so much honored and humbled to have you. So mine is a concern about the point where you stated we should be bold, we should be able to express ourselves, and we cannot change the world. We should start with changing ourselves. Yeah. So what happens, or what would you advise the outside world, that person who's not me, I'm asking on my behalf or anybody else who could be watching, when you feel stuck, when you're in between expressing yourself and still having fear of something that might have happened when you expressed yourself, maybe you were harshly, pushed back or it wasn't well taken, what would you do? Thank you.
What I usually tell the young people is that, first of all, it's good, like the business entrepreneurs tell us to do a very good SWOT analysis on their businesses, but you also tell people to do a SWOT analysis on them. Mine goes for S, for your strengths. What are you strong at? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities that you have? What are the threats? And what are your talents? And be sincere with self, because the moment you become sincere with self, you find that you're so much focusing on the weak points of the others, not on yourself. And the moment you really know, you come in touch with who you are, it will be very easy for you to handle whatever is coming your way. Because there is no way we are running away from the reality. Difficulties will be there, rejection, all those. And how prepared are you to face them? You need to know yourself. Because if you know your weak point, the moment a person attacks at the point of your weakness, you'll be able now to know what to do. Yes.
Thank you so much. And maybe one last question.
Yes, please.
How do you tell now, maybe in a work environment, how do you tell, the difference between a mentally unstable person, normally mentally, and maybe close to mad, that kind of a person? Is there like a line in between? Cheesy.
Yeah. When somebody has some personality disorders, they're not. Their personality is not well. Maybe the way they're dressing, the way they're talking, the way they're acting, and maybe before they used to act in a different way, you come to realize there's something wrong with them. There's also the characteristic disorder, the characters, the way that person is acting, the way they are relating, the way they are talking. Maybe they are angry, they're becoming angry very fast. Maybe they are overeating, maybe they are withdrawing, they don't want to associate, maybe they are not talking. You realize there's something wrong with that person.
Okay, thank you. I'm Bonfils. Thank you, counselor and host Mombi Mavuti. My question is there any cure for a serious mentally ill person? Yeah.
Not really cure, but you find that the psychiatrists, now the doctors, give some medication to contain the illness. They might give antidepressant and antidepressant agents, psychotic agents. They give medication for that. The counselors don't give medication. They deal with the psychology part of the mind. Yes.
Hello, Mombi. Hello,
Hi.
Councillor Teresia.
Hi.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. My question is, how can young parents safeguard their children's lives from mental instability, or how can they make sure their children have mental wellness starting from a young age? Thank you.
Okay. In parenting is a bit difficult, But the place to start is relationship. You should build a relationship of trust with your children so that they can be able to share what is happening around them. Because you might not be with them all the time. And if you are friends, if they feel they can trust you, it's easy for them to open up something that is happening, and now you'll know how to address it early enough. Yes.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Brenda. Hello, Mombi. Hello, Dr. Nyambura. So I have a question.
Yes.
Can mental instability come from hormonal imbalances? Can illnesses stem from your from your hormones jeopardizing your mental illness?
Yes, it can. And most especially it happens to expectant mothers. Maybe one hormone is high, they have a higher level of some hormone. The moment they give birth, they get some mental illness, and usually it's not permanent. It's controlled by the psychiatrists, and they get treated. Yes, because of the hormones, it's not permanent. Yes.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that has been our audience. Those are the questions they had and the concerns they had, and they have been well answered. You can also leave your questions or your concerns in our comment section. They're going to be answered in another episode. So Madam Gladys over there raised a very genuine concern about how do you spot someone who is not very mentally stable at a work environment, and you told us how to, but these people are present, and you're advising us to really work on our outlook of the world and the places that we are and change our perspective. But this person might sometimes become difficult to deal with. Are there any tips to deal with such people if they exist in your space?
You see, before the mental illness becomes severe, it starts with maybe anxiety, moves to stress, depression, and then suicidal tendencies. So the moment this person is anxious, he or she is not behaving normally. And if you've been working with them for some time, it's very easy to detect it at an early stage. And then you can if at all you cannot address it on a personal level, you can now maybe contact the management or somebody who they were close to, so that now you can start from there. You can start or you can go to a psychologist, and this person will be helped. And you find that in peer counseling we are more creating awareness. Before this happens, we create awareness so that on a personal level you can dictate when it's happening to you and when you're not behaving normally. Yes.
And they talked about a pregnant woman and the hormonal changes. But do we also have a scenario where someone is suffering from another condition, a physical one that is chronic? Can that affect their mental wellness to a point they would need to seek help?
Yes, like maybe a person is involved in an accident, or they face the primary traumas we were talking about, and they don't seek help. Yeah, it can lead to mental illness, or a person who is abusing drugs. Yeah, they can face mental illness. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. So another area that being advised not to live out, that people are living in that space when it is really so stressful, is relationships. We've even had people going to the extent of murdering each other, hurting each other out of a stressful relationship, where really this situation is really stressing out maybe the parties involved, but they don't want to take the next step. They stay stuck there. How much is normal stress? How much is couples will always have issues, and how much is toxic that you need to move?
Okay, the first thing in a relationship is communicating. How much do you communicate? Because if you're communicating, you're addressing each other very well, you're communicating effectively, it's very hard to get into an issue that is not solvable. Since you know the other person, you know your partner very well, and the partner knows you very well. If you are angry, they know the way you behave, the way you act. If they are annoyed, you also know the way they behave. So the first thing to address in relationships is communication. How open are you? The other thing is that you find that people might be struggling with identity crisis. You don't want to face the person you are. So you want the other person to kind of absorb you, which is impossible. So it will be very difficult if you don't know who you are, where you're going, what you want in that relationship. It's very hard for you now to relate well, because if you depend so much, you become so much dependent, the other person will get tired, of course. And maybe the other person also have issues. They might be having a difficult past, difficult childhood. If you cannot advise them to go for counseling, then it's better be out of that relationship before it's too late. Because if the other person has not addressed their own issues, it will be very difficult for them to accommodate you. It's good if they deal with their own issues first before now they come to a relationship. Yes, because if you are not at peace with self, you'll not be at peace with any other person. Yes.
That's another take home. If you're not at peace with yourself, you're not going to be at peace with any other self. So still talking about couples and a relationship scenario. When a couple is having issues, should they come for therapy when they want to consider therapy? Should they come together, or should it be only one of them coming, the one perceived to have issues?
It's advisable they come together, because now they'll be able to, they'll be in a position of opening up very well, and could be together they might be able to explore the other partner somewhere they have never known they are. But the moment they start talking with the third party present, it will be very easy for them to open up and to tell. And in situation that one cannot accompany the partner, it's also advisable you can come around. The moment you are done with self, it will be easy to convince your partner. But counseling for both parties is advisable. Yes.
Another group that could be going through stress, through mental illnesses, and might be difficult to spot is children, because you know children will be playful. So how do you spot that my child has a problem, my baby has a problem, maybe I should be taking them to a therapy session, I should be taking them to see a counselor? And because I think most parents just want to deal with it, that going to beat up the child, they're going to warn the child themselves. Maybe it's not working. How do you spot as a parent that this is an issue and I should take my child to see a therapist or a counselor?
Most of the time you find that when children are in problems, they withdraw. The first symptom in children is withdrawal. Maybe the kid was outgoing, he stops. He was very talkative, he becomes quiet, and he does not want to go out to the peer. Then you can detect there's a problem. And if you're close enough with your children, if you build a relationship of trust with your child, it will be very easy for you to detect, and it will be very easy for the child to share. But if you're not in, if the child, you know, the child to open up, they have to trust you first. If they can't trust you, they can't. But you can detect the behavior, the way the child is behaving. Yes. If they are behaving abnormally or not the way they used to, then you can tell there's a problem. And if you can't talk to them, you can involve maybe a counselor at that level. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. You're learning quite a lot in this interactive session. And is there a way that maybe this kind of stress as a child, that you're stressed as a child, can it affect you later in life?
Yes, it does. When you're doing counseling, there's something we call psychoanalysis. In psychoanalysis, there are two aspects. There is the psychosexual and psychosocial. there is in every development stage, there is where the sexual sensations are. If you don't get the satisfaction, you get fixated, or you get character arrests. It's like you stop there. Also, on the psychosocial aspect of development, socially, there is the way in each stage you're supposed to maneuver your social development. If you don't, you also get fixated. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. But there is help for any of this?
There is help. There is help. Yes, there is.
So we are winding up, Councillor Teresa, and as we wind up, I want you to call on to people, given that I know you've worked about the same, you've worked with people. I want you to share the benefits of this and encourage them to come visit counselors or seek help when it is necessary, because coming from you, it is going to mean a lot more than when people just meet on the streets and say, go see a therapist. So maybe share with us what are some of the benefits and how much can we transform if we embrace therapy?
When you embrace therapy, you're able now to know who you are. And the moment you know who you are, you're able now to become productive, since you will set realistic goals. You will do what you like doing, what you're good at, and you realize that you're not doing it for others, you're doing it for you. You will be doing what you like. Could be in business, and you're not an entrepreneur, you're something else. So the moment you go for therapies, the moment you get in touch with self, you transform, and you change, and you become an agent of change, because you also change others. Yes.
Thank you so much. So today that's where we're going to be wrapping it up on Medicamp, and I hope that you've learned quite a lot, that more than looking at it like everyone is a problem, if you can work on yourself, you can change the perspective, you can change how you view the world, and that is going to be a lot for your mental wellness. And if it is already bad, if you're already going through mental illnesses, you can seek help, because it helps, and we need to live life fully, so we cannot get stuck because we have issues. The same when you have malaria, you go seek help. The same way when you have back pain, you go seek help. It is also important that when you feel like you're struggling mentally, go seek the help that you need. Thank you so much for making time to watch Medicamp. Let's see each other together in our next episode, same time, same place. My name is Mombi Mavuti. Remember that your health is your wealth.